Welcome, everybody, to another stream for today. Let us bow in honor to the CG lords and gods, Frank Frazetta, St. Joseph, St. Paul, St. Ryan, and the Archangel Raphael. Thank you for your education, inspiration, and just overall badassery. I appreciate it. I know the community appreciates it as well. So today, if you have not joined the ZBHO Dojo yet, what are you waiting on? Are you right? I mean, we're about to go over some male anatomy in motion. We're going to be blocking in a lot of the, probably we'll go over leg anatomy. Probably, I don't know. We'll probably be sculpting around, seeing how this thing is coming together. And yeah, I hope you like it. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to get my things together while we get started. Where is that? Where is that? That's what I want. That's what I want. Computer riff over here, really. Alrighty, so let me move this over here. You know, it's client work, you know. Don't want you to see the whole thing. Alrighty. So, what do y'all want to see? Do you want to see likenesses? Or do you want to see, like, something else? Well, you know what we're going to do? We are going to go to the ZBHO Dojo. Okay. So let's see. Basically, we're gonna do 1966 Batman. This is just a rough end of the face, just to get something going. We're gonna do a separate portrait later on, but yeah, just blocking in the anatomy, the rib cage, all that good stuff, all these muscles, and yeah, just bringing stuff together. If you do have anything, any questions or any of that stuff, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to be playing music on a separate channel, which you cannot hear because I don't want to get 1,000 messages from YouTube later saying that I played someone's music, and now you can't do anything with it. Now it's being struck, and now it's going to be restricted and all that stuff. So, you know how it is. You know how it goes if you're a streamer, if you're a content creator. We have any content creators in the chat? Yeah. If you're in Zbrush, if you're doing characters, environment, whatever. If you're doing Zbrush, share your knowledge. Put together something, you know. Find the best way to learn is to teach, man. Teach. So we're going to put a cape together pretty quickly. We're going to, I think what I'll do is I'll just append a plane. But, you know, before we do that, I like to initiate the plane 3D first. So, meaning before we make it a polymesh 3D, we have this going on. This is just way too many, maybe 16 by 16. Something like that would be nice, you know? And then we can make a polymesh 3D. And then we can go here and we can append it. And we'll make sure we rename things. And kind of size it up first, make it as wide as we need it, as long as we need it. And there we go. What's up, Leo? Are you ready for some Black Ops tonight, dude? Huh? Ready to get that Black Ops in, brother? Alrighty. Just lining this up with the clavicles, trying to get that up in there. I'm going to press X. Let's see if we can get posable. Uneven. That's fine. Turn off symmetry. Bring this in. We're just going to rough this bit in here. Legendary Animations. Thank you very much for your patronage. What did I say? Did I say Black Ops or what did I say? Didn't I say Modern Warfare? Thought I did. Alrighty. Yeah, she does look a little bit mannish, doesn't she, Joe? Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go double on this. I'm going to go display properties, double, right, you know. You can see from both ends, you know. Get that X-ray vision going. And since this is going to be printed, I do want this cape to kind of have a good contact point with the body. Oh, I said Black Ops, and I can't remember shit. Yeah, Modern Warfare definitely. We're gonna do some team deathmatch, brother. I got to do some free for all last night. That shit was fun. Getting my contract work done along with the stream. Gonna be good after. Sounds good, man. I'm gonna block in a lot of this good stuff right here. And then call it a night for myself as well. And let's go this way. Let's smooth you out. Bring you down. Bring you down a peg. And let's Z-remesh this. And get something like that. Let's try that again. Let's give it a little bit more shape. Kind of help ZBrush out a bit. Let's polish by features. Let's not go so rough. Let's go something like that. Kind of get rid of those overlaps. Spread the geometry around. And I'm not looking for something super precise right now. Just trying to get the rough shape in, and then Z-Remesher will take care of the rest. And let's definitely kick this down to like 1. And let's bring this up a bit higher so ZBrush understands what we're trying to go for. Something like that. Okay, maybe not so much of the corner action. Let's try to tell ZBrush to make this a bit more curvy. And Z-Remesh one more time. There we go. Z-Remesh one more time. Get something. Okay. So I'm going to bring this over. We're going to get our angle. Rotate it in. Bring this up. Get our anchor point and rotate it out so it's not, overlapping any of that good stuff. Or any of that bad stuff, actually. Yeah, anybody else in the chat playing Modern Warfare? Anybody else? Because if you are, we need one more. It's a great networking opportunity. Yeah, if you got it on that battle net, hit us up. We're going to have to check your KD spread, so make sure you have your stats ready. Okay. As long as you're better than me, then you're in. Ooh, network with the best or get fragged like the rest. You know it. You know it. Bow, bow. No, no, no. Alrighty. I'm bringing this in. Just going to put it up to the neck. Have it all go in there. And let's see if we can just put all that in there and then bring this up. Polish. Polish. That'd be nice and relaxed. Bring that down. Bring this in. Is that? Yep, that's the way it goes. I wish y'all could hear the music I'm listening to, man. This shit's epic. But nope. Got all those damn restrictions. You know what? It is just YouTube. You know what? Fuck it. We're going to listen to some fucking music and we're going to rock it out. I don't care. I don't care. You know what? I'm just going to block your emails, YouTube. And then who's the asshole, huh? Alrighty. Let's bring this down a bit more. I'm going to use the mask lasso so I can get a bit more of an organic feeling to it. Going to feather it, invert it, feather it. And then I'm going to put my anchor point where it needs to be. Kind of rotate this in. Bring it in. A bit more. Kind of do a lot of the work for us. So if you're on Facebook, most likely they're going to be shutting this down because we're rocking out. So make sure to come over to Twitch, give us a follow over there, so you don't miss this type of whatchamacallit, stream, this type of content, this type of energy, this type of championship crucible, this type of Zbrush dojo. And I think we're going to mask this one more time. Bring this over here. And we're just going to feather this a bit. Put this anchor point right about there. Get our angle. Bring it in. Pull it out. Rotate it in. Oh. Feels so good. And keep it low. Keep it low. Alrighty, we got that zero mesher. Good. Oh, look at that, nice clean. Got a little something there, but that's fine. We're gonna be zero meshing this thing a few times before we're done with it. So this is a bit too long, according to the concept art. So go into hold control and drag down the geometry and just scale this up for right now. Make sure this is roughly in the same way that they want it. Okay. And always being aware of curves. Thank you, Jay Longju. Always aware of curves. Making sure these curves are sexy, trying, just establishing them with a 1 to 2 ratio. And that's on the stuff that isn't in the concept art, right? So this, because on this particular concept art, they're giving me only one view of it. So in the back, I'm going to make sure it looks nice and sexy. All these curves, because they kind of establish the curves from this point of view. In this pose, I know it looks really static. We're going to finish it off after we lay in all the anatomy. We're almost there with the leg, just a little bit more of the tibialis and the gastrocnemius and soleus on the lateral end that I want to get nailed down before we start twisting everything and getting rid of the skeleton. If you weren't part of our last stream, first off, I'm very disappointed in you. All right, you should be here working, learning, growing. All right. Second, we're using a skeleton to set in our anatomy, right? So I have the skeleton in here that I'm using for my proportions and for my insertions and originations for all of my muscle groups, right? And making sure everything's nice, proportional, and all that good stuff. So, you know, if you want to learn more about that, then, you know, just watch the last stream, all right? Stop being a lazy bum. But we went over female upper torso anatomy and, yeah, bless some fools with some knowledge. Twitch link, just look me up, Shotgun Scream on Twitch. Or you can just put in Spicer McLeroy Twitch and Google, and I guarantee you, sexiness is going to pop up. Success is going to pop up. Undeniable. Alrighty, bringing this over, making sure it's the right length. And if we have any 1966 Batman fans, please shout this out, because it's going to be done within 3 weeks. You're going to have 2 likenesses and really dope action pose. All right, we're going to hit with a Z remesher. Make sure that flow's all good. Let's go up. Let's go 1.5. Z remesher. And let's go to our Z remesher options. Let's freeze border. Z remesh it. Not what I'm looking for. Let's detect edges. Z remesh. Let's try it again. There we go. Yeah, just had to jiggle it just a little bit. And just making sure it's not altering the anatomy too much. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit thicker, but I don't want to give off the impression of, whoa, hey, come on. We don't sing on this channel. All right? Don't start singing. Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm still, if anything, accentuating the forms that are already here and making sure this cape doesn't, you know, give us some weird trapezius action. Gonna make sure these are in here nice and snug, because we're just gonna zero mesh this and extrude it, and then it'll be thick the way that they like it. All right, gonna solo this out according to the concept art. We are gonna have some peaks here, so just gonna use the standard brush, and I'm using display mode double so I can see the front and the back. Oh yeah, I know you like that. And bringing this over and up. Having all these trajectories kind of originate from here, and just giving a little tension, a little surface tension here and there. Then getting the damn standard out, and I think I'm gonna subdivide this just a little bit, just so I can kind of get this. Ooh. Get this form in here, and then hopefully Zbrush it again, and then we'll get a little bit better. Yep. Okay. So now what we can do, if we're so inclined, because we can always just delete it. We're not going to put any major wrinkle details on this, so just going to press Shift F so y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn off display mode or display properties double, because I want to make sure I'm Q meshing the right side, or else I might get some abnormal results. So instead of Q mesh, actually I'm going to use extrude. Reason being is that whenever you Q mesh, faces will try to connect, but if you extrude, it'll just extrude out no matter what, and it won't try to connect or solve anything for you. So we're just going to extrude this way slightly, right? And I'm going to change this, and then we're going to extrude this way, but I'm going to hold Shift and make sure this is thick enough to be printed. And we're gonna, yep, okay. So now what I'm gonna do is keep groups, and we're gonna bring this back, and we're gonna zero mesh it, and there we go. Now we got some nice flow. Let's see, was that better? Yeah, this was better. So let's go up to 3K, because now we've got double sides and it's zero meshes. Yeah, there we go. A little weird over here, a little weird. That's actually extremely weird. There we go. Me likey, me likey. Okay. So let's move this in, and we're just in the block out stages. Obviously, I know there's plenty of things wrong with this right now, but we are just locking things in, just going over things. Oh, well, for me, the way I do my workflow is just block it in and then go over it a bunch of times and show it to peers, show it to client, and see what they think. See if they like it, see if they're digging it. I'm just gonna, this head is not going to be used, but I don't know. I'm a little OCD about these things. And I'm actually going to get rid of these eyebrows for right now, just because they suck. They kind of throw me off. Alrighty. And let's make sure these are converging. They should be, these should be angled towards the head of the clavicle. So we are going to mask this just so we can get one side, and we're going to turn off dynamic symmetry just to make it a little bit easier on ourselves. Transparency, and bring this over, and I'm going to take a good look at this concept art, see how they're doing it. Okay. So we should be good. Yeah. All right. So it's just buttoning up in the front right here. And I'm going to bring this down a bit so it's fitting the silhouette of the character a bit more. Kind of flowing with the body instead of creating all these shapes. Oh, that's right. Put a little curve in the back here. Have this blow around. Boom. And there we go. See, I don't want to pull that down too far. And let's kind of get this a little bit more pointy. Seems a little flat. Already. That's not what I want to turn off. Turn off transparency, and let's get this moved down. Let's kind of give it a bit more of a following feel, because it feels like it's kind of leading a bit. And this fabric is a little bit more reactive as opposed to, it's not like, you know, Doctor Strange or anything. So just want to make sure that the physics of this are kind of believable. Maybe a little bit curved, a little bit more in, and letting this lead. And then pulling this back. A sudden, you know, like twist of it. Pulling this back, probably stretching it down here from the shoulder down is kind of like where I'm imagining this tension line. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah. And there we go. Bring this over, that over. That's good enough for a block out, I believe. It's good enough for a block out. Let's double check these hands. See if they're ready to go. Kind of think they are. Let's go here. Okay, so let's talk about leg anatomy on this guy. Let's go solo. Let's grab this, grab the hips, grab each foot, and let's work on this. Turn that off. Turn all this off. Bring this back. Turn on transparency, and let's kind of go over some of the major landmarks and some of the things that I see people doing wrong consistently in their sculpts. Let me thin out this huge bulking knee a bit so it's a little bit more believable for the body style. So this curve, the rectus femoris here, let me turn this down just a little bit. This rectus femoris here, most of the meat's going to be up here towards the top, and it's going to taper in its natural neutral position. Whenever we're in this leading position, we're going to have the activation of the rectus femoris a whole lot more, stabilizing our stance. So it's going to have a little bit more of a I don't know, like the roof of a car, as opposed to a nice curve. The flexion of the rectus femoris is kind of going to be a little bit more blocky than its neutral position. We're going to make sure that these hamstring muscles are coming to and going to the right place. And bring these over. Want to give a feeling of the gastrocnemius coming down the center of the leg. Rectus. It's a word. All right, so want to get this nice natural flow into the Achilles tendon, going into the Achilles heel. And we got, a nice bit of meat and fibrofatty tissue here in the heel, so we can give a little bit of room. But around here, we want it pretty close to the heel. And we want the tibialis, which is going to rest right underneath here. Right underneath the head of the tibialis, right? Or the tibia and the fibula, tibia. Right in between there, you're going to have the head. So if you flex your foot up and you feel the front of your shin, you should feel this little ball, this little muscle flexing. That's your tibialis, and that's going to come over and around the front right here. It's not going to go straight down. See that quite often as well. Is going to end right here on the inside of your heel. Right, so right there. So let's turn off that, and let's start reinforcing the shape a bit. So we're going to have the tibialis. It's going to start becoming a tendon right around here, right? So all these muscles have, especially in the lower leg, you have a muscle part and a tendon that is very apparent. So make sure you understand how to sculpt muscles and tendons, because they have a different feel for each one. What is going on? Yeah, sorry, my computer freezes a lot. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so when it comes to like tendons and bony landmarks, you kind of want to give it more of a hard surface feel, as opposed to like the bicep or the trapezius. These bony landmarks, you really want them to be the contrasting factor in your sculpt, right? Because we're dealing with a lot of muscles and all that stuff. And if you don't have bony landmarks to kind of break that up, your mesh or your character is going to look kind of boring. Just going to be about a bunch of round, soft things, instead of having a bony landmark here and there to break up the form and to really show your skill level. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for some reason, whenever I'm streaming, this thing freezes a lot. I'm not sure why. I switch everything to the GPU, so I'm not sure in terms of buffering and all that. So unsure. All right, and so this is kind of over here to the right, our gastrocnemius. So going to kind of bring this over. Bring that down, kind of a little bit more of a curve to it. Making sure this is not, that these aren't straight across from each other like that, right? That's super, super boring to look at and weird to make things look sexy, right? So I have a little bit more of a 40 to 45 degree angle to it, depending on what's needed. And then we're going to get our vastus medialis. So that's this leg muscle right here. This one goes to your patella right here. Goes to it. And this vastus lateralis on the outside is going to end before the head of the patella, right? And right here on each side of the knee, we need to be a little bit more hard surface and then have these muscles come in, right? And for right now, I'm going to be blocking these in generally. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking up some UFC. Some UFC fights, just put in UFC punching or left cross or whatever I want. Doesn't matter, you know, right cross, doesn't matter because I can just flip the image horizontally. But yeah, I'm going to be looking for a lot of reference, and I'm going to try to find just one person to use, and someone not too muscular, because, you know, Adam West was kind of like a normal guy, and artistically we're giving him a little bit more plane changes in his figure. So let's see. Bring this here, and we have the sartorius, which is attached to our anterior superior iliac spine. It goes over our rectus femoris, which is originating from our inferior anterior iliac spine. So you can, let's go to the skeleton. So here's where our sartorius originates from, and this is where the muscle on the front of our leg originates from. So make sure you're aware of the fact that it is angled below the top of our hip. Where was I? Right there. So you can see it, rectus femoris going into the inferior superior, or the anterior inferior iliac spine, and coming from here. So you can get a really nice trajectory. You can kind of get that V, or that little, I don't know, blade of the rectus femoris that comes out in between our sartorius and our tensor fascia latae. That might be a little bit more difficult name to remember, but I just remember the latae part and then tensor fascia. Just because I love coffee. Any coffee drinkers? Any coffee drinkers? And then our hamstrings. Let's turn off transparency for a bit. Comes from here and then wraps around and attaches to the head of our fibula. So it's this little knot right there. So that's the trajectory of that muscle and that tendon ending right here. And then our vastus lateralis right here is going to end, I think, in the same place. Let me double check. Legs are, I don't know, it's always funner to remember the upper body muscles and where they go. Let's see, what was my question? Okay, and so that's going to attach to the head of the tibula on the lateral side. So this vastus lateralis is kind of like originating from the great trochanter right here. So we kind of want to keep that, and you want to make sure that your hamstrings and your vastus lateralis are two different things, right? They're two different muscles. You don't want to bring these over, and then your glute is also in here as well, changing these forms. So you want to make sure you're aware of those. And we're going to have it attached right here. And let's get a little bit closer. You can see how much distance we can close. And it's going to attach right there. And then our tibialis is going to sit right in this little notch. And right there, I'm going to mark this in again for you. Right there. That's where that tibialis is going to be. Okay. And get this muscle. This little, I know any muscle that you can see clearly, I always call it a hero muscle. So like pecs, teres major, all that good stuff. And then this one I consider a hero muscle of the lower leg. And then have it wrap around and attach in the on the inside, on the instep. And get that. And we'll go over feet whenever we get there. For right now, I just want to block this in. All right. And let's get this a bit more realistic. We're not realistic, but less bulky. I don't want it to... I don't mind him looking a little bit more muscular than normal, but I don't want him looking like some super buff athlete, because it's just... no one's going to believe that's Adam West. Okay. So these gastrocnemius pretty attach on each side of the condyles of your femur and come out, and you're going to have this little tendon that comes here. You're also this little curve that I have in here is the soleus, and goes down there. Smooth, 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 smooth. And let's do that as well. See, this is just a little bit too wide of the calf. Bring that in a bit. And have that come out this way. Have it come out that way. Wrap around. And go towards the Achilles heel and the Achilles tendon. It's pretty much a flat tendon right there, with a little bump for your heel. All right, make sure that vastus lateralis is attaching to the head of the tibia. And we can kind of reinforce the area around the knee. Boom, 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 boom. Right around there. That's a little bit more believable. And let's turn off this transparency and make sure everything's looking good. And give it a little bit more artistry. Bring that over. Bring it across. Should be coming across way before the top of your heel. Okay. And transparency. You're going to have a muscle originating from here, going down and around your ankle, Got this fibial something. And then I gotta refresh my name, my medical terminology on these lower legs. Okay, so tibialis right here, going over and across the front of our shin and attaching on the inside of our instep. Okay. And this muscle will allow you to have the kneecap, and then it will have this muscle which will give you a little bit of contrast and depth in your calf. Instead of just having a general shape, you'll have all this complexity in here. And around. And I kind of like to have a shield for the patella or our kneecap, and make sure that, especially whenever the rectus femoris is flexed like this, the tendon's going to be super tense. So we want to make sure that is being emphasized, and it's also going to add a whole lot more interest to our sculpture. And coming down to the tibialis. This right here coming down and around. Boom, boom. And going to make sure that we do have those plane changes, and that this gastrocnemius is coming from the back of the knee and round, and it's not just got this shape that's going like that, right? It's coming from a certain specific area 100% of the time and ending 100% of the time in the same area. So, anatomy may be a little daunting in the beginning, and it may seem like a lot, and it is, but take years to understand it, or you can just keep watching this channel, because we're going to be sculpting all types of anatomy and all types of positions, or if you want a thorough understanding, you can go see Scott Eaton for his highly in-depth tutorial series on the human body, just anatomy alone and anatomy in motion. I can't recommend those enough. Plenty of my peers and colleagues were having trouble finding work, and after watching, understanding, and loving the process of learning anatomy, they started getting jobs pretty much right after they were done with the tutorial series that they took very seriously. So yeah, if you want to change your life, if you want to change your knowledge as a character artist and be able to communicate the human form in pretty much any way that you wish, I can't suggest Scott Eaton enough. E-A-T-O-N. Scott. Yeah, so definitely go see it. Definitely go get it. All right, and we're going to double check this rectus femoris. And we're going to make sure that this attaches on the femur, not just randomly in space. Scott Eaton is the very best. The very best. He's the best of all of us. Okay. We do have an iliotibial track, but we can put some striations in here to represent that after we're done. But yeah, my goal is to put in all my anatomy knowledge into this this piece and make sure it's looking really good. Making sure, again, I know the pose is stiff, but after I'm done, I'm gonna alter it a little bit more to really make sure we're pushing this to the max and getting the result we can possibly get. Because this is a project that is very important to me personally, just because whenever I was young, whenever I was getting home from elementary school and all that stuff, I would put this show on, and it was kind of like my first foray into Batman and DC, and so yeah, this means a lot to me. So I'll make sure I do it justice, honor, and glory, all at the same time. All right, Terrace Major, if you don't know it, what a fucking nerd you are. Make sure you know what the Terrace Major is. All right, tricep going over the Terrace Major, and where does it insert into? For one free sub, where does the tricep insert into? 3, 2, 1, and you're done. All right, you missed it. You had an opportunity and you missed it. It's okay. It's all right. We'll get you there. We'll make sure you're paying attention soon enough. All right. Terrace Major for life. Terrace Major for life. Alrighty. So we've got the sacrum, we've got the lumbars. I can probably emphasize these lumbars a little bit more. Let's bring back the spine so we make sure we're hitting it good. And your lumbars are going to attach all to your sacrum and go up your spine and pretty much be gone by the 7th vertebra. So depending on what the body's doing, in this case the leg is back, so the right lumbar should be activated, and then the left lumbar less so. It'll just be activated for core stability, but this lumbar will be visibly more activated than the left. Telling you, brothers and sisters and brothers, and putting all this knowledge out there for you. Putting it all out there for you. Alrighty. I got the Skellington right there. I love seeing that. And I'm going to go down in subdivision level, and I'm going to accentuate the sternal head of the pectoralis. Same here. Just well, actually, I'm not going to on that one because his arm is pulled back. Millions and millions of dollars. All right, so see how that's pulled out, right? Because our shoulder's forward, and it's going to naturally pull our pectoralis forward as well. So right there, right? Because the connection point's right out here, flows over the shoulder and comes down. And so the chest, we still have, this sternal head underneath here. I'm just going to mark that in for you right there. And that's still attached to our rib cage and still has to go over our shoulder. It may not make a lot of sense in the beginning, but if you just trust anatomy and just stick to the rules, your sculpt will make more sense. I don't know how that makes sense, but it makes sense. All right, we're gonna bring this clavicular head out as well. And just make sure these trajectories are where they need to be. And then turning transparency on, making sure that this anterior head is totally separate from our pec. Right? We don't want these two mixing up shape language. Because then you'll look like you have a pancake on the shoulder. You don't want that. Nobody wants pancakes on the shoulders. Then you can't eat them. right? You can't. It's the most uncomfortable way to eat pancakes. Someone served me pancakes and my shoulders. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You served me pancakes in front of my face. All right, brachioradialis. Over. It's a little bit better. Let's turn everything back on. Let's turn off that head. It just bothers me that that's up. We'll go with skeleton. Oh, that looks so much cooler. All right, gonna use form soft. I'm gonna turn back face masking on, and gonna turn off dynamic subdiv so I can get quicker results. Gluten-free pancakes. All right, and let me show you an easy way to put in your serratus. We're gonna go here. We're gonna grab that. We're gonna grab this. We're gonna invert it. We're gonna turn everything off besides it and the skeleton. Right, so we're gonna turn transparency on. So all of it comes from here, right? It comes from the inside. Let me go to the skeleton itself. Let's turn solo on. So all of your serratus muscles are on the inside, originating from inside here and wrapping around your ribs and attaching. So if we bring this back, it's pretty much where the nipple is going to be, and it's going to make this form. If you pay attention to some references, you'll see the serratus muscle kind of being hinted at coming from the end of the scapula. So turn transparency on, right? So this form is coming from here, and it's wrapping around, and it's attaching itself roughly to the nipple, right? So, and then coming back around, and you'll get that. Next, you just got to follow the trajectory, right? So this is coming over, and hold on. Right, and it's coming from the medial border of the scapula and attaching itself to every rib, and it's just coming down like that, right? So just a little half circle, and then you're just going to attach it to every rib, right? So boom, 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 and then it's going to dissipate around the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. It's easy to count: 12, 10, 12, 11, 10, 9. Right here. So this is where the serratus muscles will stop. All right, because then the obliques are going to start coming in. And there we go. We can hand at them that way. Bring it back. And we can kind of soften that out. Because it is Adam West, not Brad Pitt. Right, boom, boom. Get a little individuality in there, a little individuality, a little progressiveness, a little cancel here, a little cancel culture there. Right. And then now we got serratus least hinted at. Thing that we want to ensure is that it's wrapping around. We don't want these serratus muscles giving the impression that they're going out towards the going out towards the lats, because it's not. It's wrapping around and attaching to our to our scapula. So just to make sure those trajectories are believable. We can leave a little space in there, a little bit more space. And we're good. Come on, Zbrush. It only does it when I'm using Zbrush. It doesn't do it with any other program at all, just Zbrush. It's really weird. Okay. Alrighty, we're gonna taper this back just a little and kind of fix this angle a bit. It was a little bit too concave. Should feel very rectangular here, because this is where most of the meat is, and then it becomes tendons and bone, right? Alright, and then we can sculpt in this sternocleido coming from here, attaching right there, and then attaching to the sternum, not the head of the clavicle, but the sternum. We're going to dig it in on both sides slightly. Not too aggressive in this particular case. And with his head turned, it shouldn't be as an oblique angle as it would be in a neutral. Now this one is definitely going to have a lot of curvature to it, a lot of stretching. But again, it's attaching to the head of the sternum right here on each side. Boom, boom. It's not attaching to the clavicle, to the head of the clavicle. Okay, so it's going around that. Boom, head of sternum, head of sternum. Dig that in. We can dig this in too, because it's a little too thock. Right, trapezius from here, trapezius from this side. Sternocleido in the middle. Boom, boom. Get all that. Bring that up a bit more. And boom. It matters to me. I know he's gonna have a mask on, but it matters to me. Just want to have some trajectories. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, because this guy's pretty soft in terms of musculature. So I think we just got to get the impression of this foot in terms of the concept art. It's not, we're not going to be seeing the sartorius and the individualization of the leg muscles on this particular character, but I make sure I block them in because all these forms are going to add to its believability. And it definitely gives me, for me, it gives me way more confidence to move ahead whenever I've blocked in the anatomy in this fashion. And I can just make it look like the concept art now. I'm going to bring that out. We're just going to make sure these feet are kind of locked in as well, because we're just going to mask over and extract for his boots. So I just want to make sure it's nice and blocked in, so I'm not doing a whole lot of cleanup later. Put that there. We're going to add a little bit more space here to the front of the foot, especially whenever it's bent like that. What's up, and new Thorn? Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Yeah, what are we at? Yeah, we got another. I'm not gonna let you know how long we got, because then you're just gonna be like, okay, we're just gonna head on now then. But don't stick around. But yeah, hopefully going to get into the habit of streaming a whole lot more, doing a whole lot more anatomy and all that good stuff, because I want to help out my brothers and sisters and brothers. Make sure y'all are all sculpting at least anatomically correct things, you know, at least leaning towards anatomically correct. So if you're interested in that, if you're a character artist, you're just starting out, guarantee you this is the best possible channel to be following. Okay? Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Let's see, Ramses, first time here. Make sure you like and follow and subscribe. All right, first thing. That's the first thing. All right, first thing. So yeah, I pose the skeleton. Let's see. All right, wasn't an email about your subscription, Ramses, but that's okay. All right, but yeah, pose the skeleton, sculpted on top. Pose the skeleton, sculpted on top. Yeah, works all the time. Alrighty, gonna bring this over. Gonna bring this down. Most of the meat's gonna be right here. It's gonna go halfway down the humerus. We're gonna add a little bit more to this lateral head of the bicep, so we can get an even distribution on that. We got this epicondyle right here, which is going to be this little head right there. And we're going to sculpt in our, our third head of our tricep, and then also is going to attach there. And then the flexors for your wrist are going to originate from here as well. You got your brachialis going over that condyle, the lateral condyle, and then coming over your wrist. This is where you're going to have that little pocket, and then you're going to have all these running up and down the forearm, just depending on how individualistic you want those. Ramses is already a champion in the ZBHO dojo. I appreciate your patronage, brother. Alrighty. So we got all that. It's looking good, looking good. Come on, Zbrush. I don't know why it does this. Okay. Gonna put in that great trochanter. Let's put in the gluteus medius, which is going to be attached to your iliac crest. Boom, 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 boom. We won't be too aggressive. He's not on Instagram, but is going into the great trochanter. Thank you, Ramses. I'm glad you find it interesting. And then the gluteus maximus, which is all attached to the sacrum and the anterior iliac spine, or I'm sorry, posterior superior iliac spine right here. And it's just going to create that shape. So you should have boom, boom, right? You see how this is coming out of the great trochanter, great trochanter, okay? And again, we'll do this glute, and most of the meat is going to be on the inside, and then it's going to taper off. I see a lot of people just having really big round asses, and that's generally not going to be the case. Okay. Big butts cannot lie. They can't if they're sculpted correctly. All right, iliac crest going into the great trochanter, going into it, not to it, but into it. Into it. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Right there. And then you've got your glutes disappearing behind your vastus lateralis right here. Okay, so just going to disappear into there, and then your hamstrings are going to come out from there. And boom. Going to dig that in a bit. Just have some contrast. Whenever it comes out to the vastus lateralis, we've got this coming out of it. I don't know what the song is, but I already don't like it. It's way too happy. Way too happy. All right, we're here sculpting the Dark Knight. I don't want some Teletubbies music. Right there. Yeah, sure, yeah, sure, yeah, sure, yeah, sure. That'll get her done right there. Alrighty, peeps. Let's see what do we got. All right, people. So we will be back tomorrow as well. I'm not leaving just yet. Just chill out. Make sure you're followed, and subscribed. All right. Well, you're about to leave. Okay, just chill out. But tomorrow we're gonna be back with likeness for Adam West. We're gonna see how far we've got. We can get. I've got most of it done, kind of like in a cartoony way, but I want to bring it over into realism. So I'm going to show you the process of how I like to kind of break down the face so that we can get a reliable result from it, and kind of, instead of being fooled by what we're seeing, we're using anatomy and kind of dissecting everything and then putting it together. And in that way, we aren't reliant on the shadows provided to us. We're relying on the anatomy that we understand. All right, so we've just kind of emphasized the lateral head, which is attached to your chromium process on all three sides, your lateral, posterior, and anterior. Ending halfway down the humerus. You know the drill, people. Halfway down the humerus. I see a lot of short shoulders out there. And then we're going to have brachialis come around. Right, it's going to originate right where the shoulder ends. And this is going to go around like that. It's going to be this little tube. It doesn't ever flex, right? It doesn't change the shape of your bicep at all whenever you're flexing it. Okay, it's just there. Tensed or not. Right? And so it's coming, wrapping around, and it's going down into the ulna, right? So here's our ulna. And probably emphasize this a bit more. Just boop, boop. Or bring that up a little bit. Boop. All right, a little hit here of the what is this? Styloid radial process right here. And bring that up. Bring this here. Withering decline has followed. I appreciate your patronage, brother and sister and brother. I appreciate you. Obviously an extremely smart individual who wants to become a champion. Okay. All right, so we've got the lateral head of the tricep, which is attaching to our humerus. And then we have our medial head, which is coming, attaching pretty much right here and just coming down in this trajectory. All right, it's coming in, it's attaching to the side of our scapula and creating that. And then in here, we've got our aponeurosis, right, which, and our the medial head of the tricep, kind of puffing this up a little bit. This attaches to our olecranon or your elbow. This head of the tricep, I kind of like representing it with like an egg on the side. Boom, 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 boom. Something like that. We got that little hit right here. And we're going to get this radial brachialis coming from the brachii and attaching to our radialis. Have this come over that and around. Turn off transparency. And you can see we got a lot of that for free, right? Got a lot of the trajectory and all that good stuff. Are you doing this for 3D printing? Yes, I am. I am doing this for 3D printing. So, so we're gonna make sure everything's thick enough and printable enough, and all that good stuff. And if you're just joining us, we are looking for a fourth in our Modern Warfare squad. Okay. So if your KD spread's better than mine, honestly shouldn't be that hard, then you definitely run with us, gun with us. Bring peace to the Middle East. All right, we're gonna emphasize this flexor a little bit more. Give a little bit more tubular feel to it. Oh shit, what the fuck's happening to me? What the fuck? It's a funk! Alright, and we're gonna kind of deviate this a little bit. Ian EZ already has that Adam West look. I'm glad, dude. I'm glad you're digging it. Right, we're gonna get this little deviation of the pectoralis right here, and we're gonna emphasize that just a little bit more. Okay. And same thing on this side, right around there. We're just gonna make that pec turn. And then we've got the xiphoid process and the costal arch or thoracic arch or whatever you want to call it. Right. We're going to make sure that this pack is, we don't want it going over the head of the clavicle. So we're just going to make sure we got this right around there. I was going to put a little Rambo pec head tension, but that's not gonna make any sense. All right, and so we're gonna smooth that out, and now we've got room for the sternum and all that good stuff. See how all this comes into play? See how it all just suss itself out if you just pay attention in class and just pay attention to your anatomy instead of playing Fortnite. Don't you think that'd be a little bit more valuable? Don't you think so? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just always double check that. I don't know, I'm OCD about that. Just making sure that the thoracic head of the pectoralis ends at the 5th rib. Okay, make sure your pecs aren't way super low, or else you will end up in my university class under how not to sculpt a pec. So make sure if you have any questions, you put them in the fucking chat, or else you're gonna end up being an example of how not to do things. Alrighty. Okay, teres major, we kind of lost it. Gonna reinforce that. It attaches to the bottom of the scapula and then inserts into the armpit. So it's this little form that you usually see but don't know what the hell it is. All right, and then lat right there. Boom, boom, boom. Did anybody watch a fight last night? UFC fight, of course, is what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think in terms of anatomy block out, this guy is pretty much done. After this, it's just putting the character together and then making sure it looks sexy after that. But like, it takes a whole lot less time to block in the anatomy whenever obviously you have a skeleton in here. But I mean, you can put a skeleton in here and kind of fudge your way, but if you really know your anatomy, it just helps in so many ways. And I think what I'll do is I'll pay someone to rig a skeleton for me in the future. Like find a really nice anatomical one for female, one for male, and just use that. Because right now I've just been hand posing these. And I can only imagine how much easier it would be with a rig. Alright, so we're going to get the shield of the patella. Make sure we're in the right section. Come on, Zbrush! Hurry up. Ugh, pissing me off. Right, each side, patella tendon. Right here. So you got the shield of the patella, then the patella tendon, which attaches right there. See that? That's called your sitting bone. So if you're a religious person, that's what you sit on whenever you're praying. And then this tibialis will come out and over. So it's giving you a lot of good contrasting grooves and moves that'll really help you sell your skill. Because the knee is always, at least before I started anatomy, was always just like, I guess it looks like this and it's here and it does this. But, you know, after doing all the studying, you get a little bit more knowledge about the mechanics of it, and you become a little bit more comfortable sculpting it as well, because you know how it should move, why it's moving, etc., etc. Okay, oops. We're gonna kind of soften that peak over. Somewhere around there. Oops. We're gonna feed that. Make sure it's got from the great trochanter right here, coming out that way, coming out this way. And then fill. Smooth. Okay. And then we've got the vastus lateralis, which is the muscle on the outside of your leg, and our hamstring, two different forms. And bat taint. And I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Alrighty. Dave K just got home. Looking good, man. Still need one more part for my computer. Oh, yeah. Get that thing upgraded. Alrighty, people. Well, this is a good stopping point for the stream. I do appreciate all the new followers, subscribers. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you do. Let's head over to the front desk. Make sure you're signed up. Alrighty, so here we are. All right, before we leave every stream and whenever we arrive for every new stream, we must bow to the gods and saints of CG. Lord Frazetta, may you guide us with your compositional and your compositional wisdom. Saint Joseph, thank you for all of your ZBrush knowledge and usage techniques. Brother Paul, St. Paul, thank you very much for all of your ZBrush courses. St. Ryan, thank you for ZBrush workshops. And of course, the Archangel Raphael, otherwise known as Raph, who makes us all look like total amateurs. Thank you very much for all of your inspiration. Again, if you haven't, check out the XMD Academy. I teach a 10-week course there. It's got lots of modules, and then you'll also be a part of the stream in terms of critiquing work whenever that new semester starts. So, I appreciate everybody and appreciate all the questions, appreciate all the love, appreciate all the shares and likes and comments. Y'all are the best. All right, so we'll see you in the parking lot next time.